Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, with our Positively Pipeman segment. And I'm here with the pet health guru, our resident expert on pet and human health here on the Adventures of Pipeman. And we're going to talk today, what is holistic? And I love that we're going to talk about that, because I think people don't even know the difference between holistic and homeopathic. Take it away, Bill.
You are absolutely right. Homeopathics basically is another form of regular medicine, but using natural homeopathic remedy. Deals mostly with vibration and frequency and things of that. But the other interesting thing about that is almost all those homeopathic remedies come from food. There are a lot of herbals, and we look at herbals, of course, as food, not as herbal medicine, not as a supplement. It's an ancient food that's available. Now, when we get into the holistic part of that, okay, holistic means whole body. We're not taking parts and pieces of the body and looking at just those. Okay, you got an IBD, irritable bowel or colitis, or you've got a heart condition, or you've got a brain issue. Okay, that's all part of one system. So you have to look at the system. But if you go to your normal veterinarian, you go to your normal general practitioner, okay, they're gatekeepers basically today for, let's look at the parts. And what parts do we need to remove or change? It's not about looking at it and looking at the absolute cause. If you don't look at the body as a whole, holistic, that kind of sounds a little bit alike, doesn't it? But if you don't look at it as a whole and go start digging deeper and deeper to what the core problem is, you can never heal anything. Of course, doctors, veterinarians, they're all about symptom management. So an example I use when I talk to customers in the store, do consultations, things like that. Let's just say you have a heart murmur. You go to your GP and he kind of diagnoses you or your dog with a heart murmur. Okay, so what do I do, doc? Well, there's nothing we can do for it. It's irreversible. So I'm going to put you on 14 different medicines that will make you comfortable. But doc, what caused it? Oh, it's probably genetic, although we really don't know. Because whenever I don't know something, I say it's genetic. That way you can blame your parents, first off, and I can look good by prescribing a medication for you. And, that medication, of course, all medications are poisonous. That's why they all have to have a warning label. That's why they all have to have a prescription, because they are deadly. Every single patented drug out there that is controlled by the FDA has a warning label, and in that warning label, one of the side effects is death. Actually, there's three main ones: seizures, liver damage, because it got to be filtered out through the liver, and that's killing the liver, and death. That's the three main side effects of every single drug on the market. But so we want to look at how we go back to the core. What did you and I and our dog do wrong to screw up our bodies? What did we put into it through our mouth? So now, if I put bad stuff in and I've got problems, what's the holistic overall picture that I have to look at? Well, I know I have to clean out my liver and kidney in order to function properly, and the lymphatic system as well. Okay, I got to quit putting poison in. Yeah. Now that I know that, now I can start to treat it systematically, not symptomatically. And that's what the big difference is. Now, what can we do for doing it as a system? Clean out the system. Clean out the filters, first off. Secondly, high-density, nutritious foods, species appropriate. taking that approach. I mentioned the heart murmur. Okay, can a heart murmur be cured? Yeah, a doctor can't do it. Only the body can do it itself by giving it the right tools.
Yeah.
So the heart is a muscle. Okay, if you're a bodybuilder, how do you build muscles? Appropriate foods, unless you're taking steroids or something of that nature. But you're doing food. What food is going to have the nutrients to rebuild heart muscle? Heart. Traditional Chinese medicine. You treat like with like. You got a bad liver, start eating liver. The body doesn't have to search for components to rebuild it. It's right there in that container, that meal. So we're looking at the whole system this way. And that's an important part of it in being holistic, because if one part of that system is out, so are other ones. Mm-hmm. And they're going to show up. Sometimes the symptoms go away. You come up with other things. I might have joint pain. I might have, some stomach issues that, develop while we're doing the detox. Because we have to realize, too, when we're looking at the whole system, you have to start detoxing. You have to get rid of the poisons that are already stored in the body. When the body starts to clean them out, that's being dumped back in the gut. And, now I got an upset stomach. I got this symptom. I got that symptom. We have to realize that. And, of course, when we go all the way through the system, it's got to come out of the body. Yeah. And, we on a previous show, we talked about, gastric problems, diarrhea, vomiting, things of that nature. Well, that excretion isn't just food, which most people probably don't even realize. Okay, it's your dead cancer cells, your dead scar tissue, poisons, all kinds of over amounts of chemicals, even natural chemicals like your own enzymes, things of that nature. That's all in that excretion process. That's got to work the body's got to work as a whole, because the heart's got to get rid of that heart murmur, those damaged cells that cause the heart murmur. Those have got to go into the circulatory system, through the digestive system, and out of the body. Now we're talking again about the whole. We're not talking about a symptom. And of course, when we use drugs and medication and normal medical tools, if you will, we're actually plugging up that system with more chemicals, more poisons that's got to be getting rid of. And so you hear my fan club back here that's also, confirming everything I say.
That's what I was thinking. I was hearing that, and they're really you must be speaking home for them, because they were just really into it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have a question for you. So why, if the liver processes toxins, how is eating liver healthy for you? I just think to myself, and this is what most people are thinking right now, I'm eating all the toxins in one bite.
That's a common thought, and it's a common belief, because we've been lied to, because doctors do not, and veterinarians do not study physiology. The air you breathe that went through your AC unit or your heating unit, there's a filter. Okay? That's basically what the liver does. It filters. But unlike our air conditioner filter where it sticks to it, this is actually being flushed all the time. So It's not a storage unit. Toxins are stored in fat tissue, not in the liver. So the liver is clean. And when we also looked at the next step down, if you've got kidney problems, kidneys downstream of the liver, they diagnose you with a kidney issue, but your liver is fine. How can that be? How can that be? And of course, if the liver is plugged up, that everything going into the liver comes from the gut. You have to start working your way upstream or downstream, depending on which way you want to look at it, because it's a system. And, one of the other things that comes into that when we look at holistic, especially with our pets, spay and neuter, we remove body parts that are supposed to be producing certain enzymes and hormones and other, biologics that are going to heal and keep the body maintained on a basis of homeostasis, balance. When I take that part out, the body's got to refunction itself to, be able to make those products to keep us healthy. Where does it go? It's part of that endocrine system. It's going to go into the liver. It's going to go into the pancreas. It's going to go into the thyroid. It's going to go into the spleen, the appendix. All these other organs have now got to work overtime. So now what do we have? Appendicitis, pancreatitis, all the itises, if you will, that are inflammation because those body parts are missing and we're now overworking them. We're not giving them good nutrition because that's what builds the system is the proper nutrients. And, hence we have if it's our pet, we have a huge, huge vet bill. And if it's a person, you may be on disability because of it. We have to keep our body well fed, well energized, if you will, right energy. And of course, foods bring different energies, different frequencies to the table. And that's an important part of it because every body part needs that. The microphone I'm talking into has energy. And it has the right energy to be able to transmit that sound.
Yeah.
And so it's, it's really profound when you're looking into the details of it. But when you're looking at it, okay, don't take away from the natural parts of it. Holistic is natural. And don't allow the buzzword of it naturally. It's a natural product. Because so many natural products today, because of labeling laws and stuff like that, are not natural. They're synthetic. Someplace down the road, there may have been a natural component to it, but sometimes that could be halfway around the world.
And where can we find some real natural products?
The best place and the only place that I recommend is My Paleo Pet and BioComplete products because that we know because we source them properly and that sort of thing. That the BioComplete line is double. We do third-party testing, and we on the food products. I actually visit the farms, see the way they're being raised, how they're being slaughtered, how they're being taken care of, so that it is the most natural that we can. Those are all available at My Paleo Pet, both online, mypaleopet.com, and of course in our store. We have qualified employees and team members that are going to help you with your selection, can explain the differences between the different products. And of course, to back that up, the Pet Health Guru is on the Pet Health Cafe for the last 18 seasons. I mean, it's incredible that I was getting this information out that long ago. And basically, prior to 18 seasons ago, we didn't even have a venue, did we?
No, not this venue.
Not this venue, but there were very few venues at that point in time, and that's how you and I met is on another venue. But that was like, okay, it was a novelty at that point in time.
Totally.
We started something very, very serious, especially with the Pet Health Cafe, and I know you've had a number of different hosts and that sort of thing, and of course have built this so that we have a venue where we can at least get the information out. Yeah. And that's what I'm here for, is to get that information out. It boggles my mind sometimes as to how everybody now appeared on podcasts, which when I started with you, Bill, why are you going on internet radio? Nobody is ever going to listen to the internet. Yeah. That's amazing.
Everybody thought I was nuts, but
they thought I was nuts too. I mean, I was told that many, many times. It's like, but we had vision. Yeah. And actually vision is part of that whole holistic plan because we're listening to that vibration in our brain, that the things that tell us this is right and this is wrong. And, it's just an amazing journey. We keep finding out more and more. I mean, now that all these podcasts are out there too, we're finding out that like my number one source for information on health, it normally dates back to the early 1900s, the late 1800s. This stuff was all done. It was all buried. Holistic care was really just taken away by a couple of rich dudes, back in the early 1900s when they changed the whole medical system. And of course, everything now has to be patented medicine. You can't do anything. Food, food cannot, according to the FDA, food is not a medicine. It cannot heal anything.
Stupidest thing I ever heard.
Yeah. But the funny thing is you can't live without that food, even though they're giving you all these medications.
It's
the medication
the only
won't keep you alive.
It's the only medicine. It gives you everything you need. When I started with Dr. Jafari, changing my eating habits, I remember very, very clearly saying to her, because I wasn't eating that much with what she was giving me on the list to detox. And I'm like, I'm not even hungry. Isn't that weird? She goes, no, you're not. It's not weird. You're not hungry because your body is getting everything it needs.
Yeah.
See, we fill our body with a lot of things that the body doesn't need. And that's why we keep eating.
Yes, absolutely. But, and that's just it. I mean, empty calories don't do us any good. We overeat, and we have no energy. It throws off your hormones. It throws off your whole balance, that equilibrium, if you will. And that holistic approach, tune into the Pet Health Cafe. We've got, like I say, 18 seasons. That, by the way, that equates to 18 years, not 18 episodes. But, it's a lot of information, a ton of stuff. I joke around a lot because it's like the message is almost the same for the last 18 years. But how many different ways do I have to say it before it clicks in your brain? And that's the other part of it, is getting the information out there is one part of it, but making it click in a way that you can understand it is what we try to accomplish.
So they can understand and get unbrainwashed from the people that just want their money.
Yes, exactly. So, we hope that you listen to the podcast, Pet Health Cafe. We hope that you visit the store, My Paleo Pet, and mypaleopet.com. I'm available for consultations as well. If you need extra help, we can help you with that.
All right. Well, always a wealth of information from you, Pet Health Guru. I love it. Everybody stay tuned because you have chances to win festival tickets to festivals on the Pipeman Radio Tour. And then for all you business people, we're going to give you some powerful business strategies from resident expert and Next Step CFO, Michael Barbarita. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Incarceration, America's rock, metal, and tattoo festival returns this summer with Limp Bizkit, Disturbed, Bad Omens, plus Gojira, Papa Roach, A Day to Remember, Motionless in White, Ice Nine Kills, Cypress Hill, The Used, and so many more. Incarceration at the Ohio State Reformatory, July 17th to 19th. Passes on sale now at incarceration.com. The Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at sonictemplefestival.com. Welcome to Rockville. Returns to Daytona International Speedway May 7th through 10th with Foo Fighters, My Chemical Romance, Guns N' Roses, and Bring Me the Horizon. Plus, Turnstile, Five Finger Death Punch, The Offspring, Breaking Benjamin, A Day to Remember, Godsmack, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville, May 7th through 10th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at welcometorockville.com.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next segment on Positively Pipeman with our resident expert in business, Next Step CFO, Michael Barbarita. How are you?
Fantastic. How you doing, Dean?
Doing great. I want to hear all about bricks and mortar communication strategy. You know why? Because back in the 90s or in the 2000s, they said there was going to be no more brick and mortar. And I don't know. I don't feel myself sitting outside right now.
There you go. You're right. You're absolutely right. So today I'm going to share a communication strategy. It's just a name called Bricks and Mortar, and it connects with audiences. And whether you're speaking to many people or just in a one-on-one conversation, once you understand it, you'll never communicate the same way again. Now, I want you to think about the last presentation or even the last email that truly captivated you. What made it different? Why did it hold your attention when others couldn't? And the answer actually lies in understanding the unspoken question that every single person asks whenever somebody begins communicating with them. And that question is this for me or not for me? That's the question. So let that sink in for a moment, because whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you're asking this question constantly throughout the day when you're reading messaging or receiving messaging. You know, when you open an email, you're asking, is this for me or not for me? When you scroll through social media posts, you're literally going through it and asking, is this for me or not for me? When you're watching a YouTube video, you're asking, is this for me or not for me? And as communicators, we must answer this question immediately with a resounding yes. But here's where most people go wrong. It's not enough to just answer it once. You have to answer it repeatedly throughout your entire message. So let me show you with a situation that I bet you've experienced as well. So imagine your colleague excitedly calls you saying, you won't believe what just happened in the meeting with our biggest client. So that the first question is easily answered. This sounds like information that you definitely need, or a course you want to listen to. But when your colleague launches into excruciating detail about who sat where, what everybody was wearing, and all sorts of irrelevant background before getting to the point, what usually happens is you start to get bored, you're checking your phone, you're glancing at your watch, you're mentally drafting your grocery list, or whatever it is that you're distracted by. But you know, you're wondering, you're starting to wonder if this is actually for you and why you're listening. But here's the breakthrough insight. You can have the most impressive features and benefits in the whole wide world, but without what I call mortar, you're just building a pile, not a structure. So in communication, the mortar, everything that answers that critical question is this for me? And here are some examples of that situation. You talk about something and you talk about a benefit, and then you say, here's why it matters to you. That's mortar. And the other thing is you make another point. Here's the key point of information. Okay, that's a brick. By the way, the key points of information, or the benefits, the features, those are the bricks. But the mortar is, here's what this means for your situation. Or you say another point. Here's how this will help you specifically. And so if you keep putting the mortar with the bricks, that's how you get somebody's attention, because then they'll understand why it's for them and how it applies to them. So it's a fascinating strategy, and it's a fascinating communication strategy. And what I've done with it, I've been using it lately, and I got to tell you, it's worked extremely well. And I finally get attention. I think that's the key. I finally get attention when I use the mortar with the brick, and so with it, I've been just getting more attention, simply more attention. Whether it's going to a webinar, whether it's in the middle of a sales presentation, or any type of communication where I'm trying to influence, I use the brick and mortar strategy, and always focusing on what is in it for them, but reinforcing it though, Dean, that's critical. You know, you can't just talk about the advantage and the benefit. You got to explain why it's important to them.
It's the old saying, what's in it for me?
Right. So it's a strategy that I've been using an awful lot lately. I just learned it maybe, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And it's just been a strategy that I've been using, and it's been working very well. And I thought I'd share it with your audience today, because we're all trying to figure out ways that we can communicate better with prospects in a world that's very hard to get attention.
Yeah, totally.
Right. The other
Well,
thing go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love what you're saying because it is so hard to get people's attention nowadays.
And the other thing I do with it, Dean, is I train AI with it, so that, I utilize a lot. I train AI on a lot of things. I have, things like my book in there, in the project knowledge, so to speak. I have my book. I have a lot of communication strategies in there as well, including this one. And so when I ask AI to write marketing content for me, I make sure I reference the brick and mortar strategy that's in project knowledge, because that way the AI will be able to utilize that in making my marketing message. So it's really, it can be effective in many ways. So it's something that I wanted to share with your audience today.
And how do people communicate with you so that they can get their brick and mortar communication strategy?
They could absolutely go to nextstepcfo.net. And by the way, they can download a copy of my book, Powerful Business Strategies. It's free. They can also go to nextstepcfo.net/contact. Put there, they fill out the contact form. And one thing that I do is I'm always adding additional content to my book, always updating it. And so I love to interview business owners. And so if a business owner is interested in a book interview, they just have to go to the contact form on my website, fill out the form, and put book interview in the message. And that is it. I'll get back to them with a calendar link.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to people communicating with you because you are definitely a help to all businesses. And I love that strategy that we just talked about, because I don't think people think of that. And what's in it for me is so important to them,
Right,
and they don't care what's in it for you. They care what's in it for them.
And all they're doing is talking about it. Without that strategy, all you're doing is talk about features, advantages, and benefits. And the customer is getting, a little bored, like in the example I gave you when a colleague was talking about a big client and talking about all the details that don't matter.
Exactly. Like, I think people don't realize that people don't buy features and benefits. They buy what those features and benefits mean to them.
Right.
So great advice once again here on Positively Pipeman, the Powerful Business Strategy segment. And thanks once again, Michael, for being here with us. Next week, you mentioned AI. Next week, we're going to talk about using AI.
There you go. Thanks, Dean.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.